1150 AM WDEL.
All right, Rick Jensen live and local. For those of you hanging on and talk about the sleep decision, do that. Just hang on, okay? Because, as I said, at some time this hour, Governor Tim Pawlenty of Minnesota is going to call in as he's traveling here to campaign for Mike Castle for Congress. He's on the phone. He's on the Amtrak heading on up. Governor, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Rick. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thanks for picking up the cell phone and taking a few minutes with us. I really appreciate that. And what we know about you is not a whole lot out here in Delaware, honestly. And I'm someone who follows politics pretty darn closely. I know you advocate policies like better training and performance pay for teachers. That's something that's heatedly debated here. Online college education, reworking health insurance in many ways, and that's always hard to do. But what else do you think is really a challenge for governors, especially these days?
Well, in terms of me, I consider myself a mainstream conservative. And Rick, and so one of the things we try to focus on is fiscal discipline. And with the economy softening like it is, that's more important than ever to have government live within its means, just like families have to and small businesses have to. And I know that's a principle that Bill Lee and Charlie Copeland and Congressman Castle all embrace as well. But governors are also worried about, the energy crisis and what we can do at a state level to try to get more supply, make energy more affordable. Same with health care, and also I would say education, and not just more funding for education, but how do we make it more accountable and more accountable for results rather than the money going in.
You're seriously considered or being considered for vice president with John McCain. What are those conversations like?
Well, I don't engage in the VP discussion anymore because every time I raise it, it sets off another round of speculation. Most of it's inaccurate and just speculation anyhow. So I don't engage in the VP discussion. But he's going to have a lot of good people to consider, and I'm sure he'll make a great choice. Oh,
we're speculating like crazy out here. When's the last time anybody from the McCain camp talked to you about that?
I just don't address that, Rick, because for all the reasons I just talked about. But I used to talk about it, and then every time I'd use a word that was different than the day before or the week before, then I'd set off another round of articles saying, well, what does this word change mean? And so it became a big distraction and a big hullabaloo, so I just stopped talking about it. You
were once a member of what's known as the DFL, the Democratic Farm Labor Party.
Yeah.
What is that? That's got to be something real Minnesotan.
That's just another name for the Democratic Party, but they had their traditions in the farmer labor movement, so they kept that part of it in their name. And it's one of the more liberal states in the country, unfortunately. And so we're fighting a good fight, trying to make it purple or at least light blue. But it's the land of Humphrey and Mondale and Wellstone and McCarthy, so we got some work to do to make it competitive and conservative. Well, keep it in mind. Now you have Al Franken running for Senate, for crying out loud. You just mentioned all those other liberals. Now, what are his numbers looking like against Norm Coleman? Norm's going to win that race, Rick, comfortably. He's done a great job as a U.S. Senator. He's a dynamic individual. He's a great campaigner. And Al Franken is none of those things. And even in Minnesota, I think people realize that Al Franken is not the right selection for the United States Senate. In the last public poll, Norm was ahead 15 points. Well, you mentioned Minnesota's liberal state. You're a Republican. How the heck did you win? Well, we tried to show people that there is a way that conservative approaches and philosophy can meet their needs and meet their expectations. So, for example, we say, hey, your paycheck isn't going up. Well, if it's going up at all, it might be going up 1% or 2%. And so government shouldn't be growing much faster than that, if at all. We also know that people are concerned about things like health care and energy, but they don't want government taking the whole thing over. They want market approaches and consumer approaches. So we just try to use common sense principles that I think most people embrace in their everyday lives and try to illustrate how we can do that in government. And I think the message is we don't want to pay more. How can we get more effective government, for a better price? So I got to interrupt and get a short 30-second answer of why you're so enthusiastic about reelecting Mike Castle to Congress. Well, Mike Castle is a wonderful man, and I know you only give me a limited amount of time, but he's got his heart is in the right place. He's a true public servant, and he's a reformer. And he's somebody who carries the principles of limited and effective government, and he's an unquestioned national leader in education reform and accountability, and one of the most important issues of the day, energy. And he's a big booster of the all of the above approach, not just some of the above approach, and we need that. He works pretty well across the aisle, too, doesn't he? Well, he's beloved across the aisle, but Republicans admire him and respect him, but he also has a lot of friends across the country and across the aisle who want to work with him because he's a decent, thoughtful, all-around good guy. If you just tuned in, it's the governor of Minnesota
who's just checking in as he comes to Delaware to campaign for Mike Castle. It's Tim Pawlenty, and I have a message here I'm reading online here. Please tell the governor, thank you for calling my ad pretty funny. Love, Paris Hot Hilton.
Well, you have to give her credit. I don't know if that's a joke or not. But,
it is, because I saw your statement in the New York Times saying, hey, that her ad was pretty funny as she was responding to McCain's celebrity ad about Barack Obama.
Yeah, we'll leave it to Paris Hilton to figure out a way when she's the subject of a political ad to elevate her own profile. And actually, if you listen to her message on energy in her new commercial or spoof ad, it's kind of all of the above. So she's almost embracing the McCain position.
Well, almost, although I think that the Democrats are going to try to play another one of those gotchas when they say, well, we have to have tight environmental controls. To me, that means, okay, no drilling.
Yeah, the one thing I worry about, Rick, as I'm sure you do, when Obama says he's open to some offshore drilling, some means potentially not very much. He's also put all kinds of conditions on it. So you have Nancy Pelosi drafting the conditions. I'm not sure it'll ever happen under the Obama approach. I'm confident it'll happen under the McCain approach.
Well, I thank you for taking time. We have to get to WDEL News. It's Tim Pawlenty, he's the governor of Minnesota, driving up on the Amtrak right now. And I got to admire you also for cleaning up the mess that Jesse Ventura probably left in the office.
Well, it's my pleasure to serve.
I'm just kidding. I love Jesse Ventura.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
All right, take care. It's Governor.
Bye, Rick.
Bye-bye. Take care. Tim Pawlenty, Governor, Minnesota, coming up here to campaign for Congressman Castle. Now, WDEL News.
Live and local. WDEL is Delaware. 1150 AM WDEL Wilmington.